everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. Today is May the 24th, Tuesday, and I'm working on the Coriander Quilts by Corey Yoder Beautiful Day Mystery Box. So I've already completed month 1, the Starry Eye block, block 2, Rosy Wonder, and block 3, the Fun Dash. With each one of these, we make 4 blocks. So I'm going to move this tray out of the way and begin working on block 4. Its name is Grace. So I've already got my fabric cut out, and it is a free sew along, so all you have to do is go to her website and you can pick up the information. So I've got my little fabric in its little package the way that I do mine. So this will be my center panel for this particular block. So I'm going to lay that aside so it's out of the way. Then we have our strips cut to the lengths that we need to. And I just want to move these out of the way so I'm not grabbing the wrong ones as I go along here. I've already pre-pinned some of these, that way it'll save time. So let me move those. These will go with those. This will go in with this one. So the first thing you do is you pick up your center and you take one segment I want to make sure I've got the right pieces in the right part. So you come along, you can either pin it or just sew it straight in. I'm just going to line it up and eyeball it and bring it straight in. You're going to want to do your 1/4 inch, not your scant, on her block. She writes her patterns extremely well, so there's no need to do the scant 1/4 inch to get what you need. So then just flip the block over, and my background fabric looks the same on both sides, but it's not. So I like to lay it against my pink mat and it tells me the direction. That way I'm getting it right the first time and not having to do any seam ripping, because I don't like playing with Jack the Ripper. So now I'm going to slip over here and just press it. You're going to press it out for this block. Flip my fabric and do the same thing here. That way you've got both sides flat. Bring it back over, and you're going to take another section, and I'm going to lay it to make sure I'm getting the right side, and you're going to just line this up. It's really neat the way this particular block comes together. So I've got it lined up. I'm going to slip under and slide this one through. I'm going to slow down here so I'm making sure I'm right to the corner and everything lines up really nice. Snip it off, flip your block, and then do the same thing on the next side. Just got to make sure which side's up. So I'm going to lay it down and do the same thing here. Come along 1/4 inch, and then I tussle it in just a bit, and then you're going to press your seams out. So I give it a little bit of finger loving there and just run the iron up. Normally I would be using my acorn pin to get my seams flat, but I'll do that in the end because they're laying really flat with this particular block. So now I'm going to lay my block down, and I've already got mine pre-marked to where I'm going to end up with a bonus block because I don't like to waste my fabric. So all the directions call for is just straight in the center, and that's it. So I drew the extra line on mine so that I can get the bonus block out of it, because I'm getting quite a few with this particular patterns, and I can use those in an after quilt when I'm done. So what I do, instead of doing one at a time, I just pin them, and that way it's efficient sewing for me, and I can keep everything lined up. So I just have them pinned, and you just line them up with your corner for this part and bring it back over. You're going to sew twice and cut once. So you're going to come to the edge of your line, that your first mark line, and do it just on the other side of where your line is. Snip it off and come back up now for your bonus block. This bonus block yields me a 3.5 by 3.5 inch extra block that I am going to utilize in the after quilt. Not sure how I'm going to do my after quilt for the backing until after it's totally finished, and then I'll design that. But for right now, I love this fabric line, and I want to utilize it, every bit of it. So whatever my scraps are that I have left, that's going to be my after quilt. So why not make a couple bonus blocks while you're doing it? Come straight down and do the same on corner number 3, and do your bonus block. Flip it over and do the same thing on number 4. And right there. I'm going to pop my pins. Now I'm going to take it right here to where I'm ironing and just press that block back before I even cut. It's easier to do it here than find out you're off a little bit or you're short. I press my blocks in half when I'm doing anything like this. That way I'm sure my marks are right as well. It's easier to measure twice than cut once. So as you can see, they've all lined up just perfect. So let me move these little tidbits out of the way. I'm going to fold this back and get my ruler. And then now I'm just going to cut off to make my bonus block. I'm going to line my ruler up here with my first line that I marked, and then I also added in my cut line just the way that I do it on mine. Fold this one back and repeat. You're going to do that on all 4 sides. And now I'm on side 4. Now these are my bonus blocks, mind you, and you'll see what we're going to do with those in just a second. So these are done. And it's like snowballing your corner per se. So now we're going to take where we've got these marked, and it's just straight down. We're not going to be able to get a bonus block out of these. So all you're doing is basically making a flying geese on this one. And I've already pressed it, so I'm sure this is going to line up. And I'm going to come straight down. My pressure foot is right on the line that I drew. My pin come out there. So I'm going to come up this one and do the exact same thing. I'm going to pop my pins because I'll use them on the next section where I have to flip them and do them. So just snip them apart. And I'm going to take it to the iron, and what I'm going to do is just fold it over and press it. So I'm going to do that to all four real quick. And you're going to point them up to the corner. It's a handy way of making your flying geese. So now I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm just going to use my little tiny ruler here just to make it simple for me. And you're going to trim this off. So these will be scraps. Not sure what I'll end up using them for, but I will use them for something. So I have a scrap bin over here. So now I'm going to take my other ones that I've already got pre-marked, and you're going to put where you're going to cut it off facing out. And once again, you're going to pin. I like to get them all lined up and ready to go before I even bring them to the machine. That way I can just sew efficiently and get them all in. Fell on my pants. So remember, it's going corner at the diagonal on this. And line it up and pin. Now your first one, I normally use enders and leaders, but here I didn't. So you're just going to come down, and like I said, sew right on the inside of this line, and it's going to line up perfect for you without any problems. I start out slow and then I pick up my pace just a bit. The same thing here. And here again. And it makes it easier when I'm showing you in the videos how nice it comes together, just to go ahead and pre-mark everything. And all the measurements are in the pattern, but it was just a straight line across. So I don't think you needed showing that. So I'm going to fold this back and bring it to the iron. And I'm going to do that 3 more times. So now I've got that done, and we're going to trim the edge. And just set it aside. Do the same here. And I know this ruler's for marking purposes, but I just grabbed what was handy. So I've got my little trimmings there, and they're all set aside. So now the next block, what we're going to do is take 2 of these and 2 of these and just set them aside. You're going to take your next block, and it measures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5, and you're going to add it to this side. So you're going to do that twice with these blocks on each side just to build it out. Do the same thing here. Then I'm going to take the next sections while I have it, and I'm going to add those here. Good thing I checked that, huh? Here, and then do the same thing here. And if you've not done any of her patterns or these sew-alongs, you're really missing out. They're fun. They come together nice. You have a whole month to do your 4 blocks in, so you can fit it in between projects even. And in the end, you have a really nice block that comes together real sharp. So here I'm just going to finger press it and slide it around. See which side of my fabric is up, and bring it in. Line it up and sew it in. Do the same thing on this one. Flip it, see which side of my fabric is up, and bring it in. Then here I'm going to take and press them off. Do the same thing here. Now you've got this 2 sections, and you're going to finish off these. So I'm just going to finger press here and bring this one. See which side is my right side, and slide it in. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Just finger press it down. These are wee little tiny circles, white on both sides, but the doll white's going to the back and the patterned one's coming to the front. So I'm going to press these out, and you're going to press your seams outwards instead of in. You can even press them open. I've opted to just press them to the out. So I'm going to lay these aside, and I'm going to take, it doesn't matter which side you go to, but what you have to remember is this has to face here. So lay it down and just flip it over. That way you don't mess up. And just pick it up. Bring it to your machine and wiggle your fingers just a tad bit and get your start line. Raise your foot and go down both sides. And then you pull this one right to your edge. All the seams, all the measurements, if you're sticking with your true 1/4 inch, you won't have any problems with these blocks lining up. Flip it over and repeat. The easiest way for me is to make sure that I'm getting that point is I lay it down first and flip it over. That way you don't have to go seam ripping. Line it up, bring it under, and repeat. Bring it down here and just bring it right in. Then I'm going to take it off the machine, and I'm going to once again press it down, and my seams are going out. Flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. So now that I'm here, I have one wee little thread I need to take off. Had a long thread I needed to take care of. So now I'm going to lay it down and bring the final 2 pieces in. Then this block is complete. That's how simple and easy her patterns come together, and it looks like you spent hours. So line it up and bring it straight down. So now sew it in. There's no seams to line up with this block. And once I get all 4 blocks made, I will give them a heavy starch and then just set them aside to wait for next month. So I have it pointing out, and then I'm just going to flip it over and do the final side. Line it up and bring it straight down. That's it. Now let me come over here, press it down with my fingers. I am not trimming my blocks down until the end. I'll take a little bit of extra time and just do them at the end. That's just what I'm doing. You can trim them down. They're supposed to be 16.5 by 16.5 finished, and I'm just gonna wait. All of them seem to be measuring, but you always have that little fray at the corner. So this is my finished block of Grace. And I wanted to thank you for joining me, but I'm going to show you a little tidbit here before I quit. I've got my 4. One block yielded me 4 bonus blocks. So all I do is, before I end my project, iron to the dark side, press it flat, because I know if I throw these in the bin, I will have a hard time in the end when I'm ready to use them. So I'd rather just go ahead while I have the time right now and trim them down. If they're ready to use, they're easy to use. So I have my handy roller. Here's my blocks, and I'm just going to lay it down, and you have your line right here that you're going to come across. Line it up. These blocks, you have plenty to trim them down. So just line it up, your line right there, and your line right here, and go ahead and trim these down. So I always put my finger to the back of the ruler just to make sure that it does not budge, because it's so easy at times that things do move and shift. Let me move that out of the way. And flip it over and do the same thing, and it lines up perfect every time. Remember, keep your fingers out of the way as you're doing this. So far I have, with each block, I've been able to yield a few extra blocks. So it's just a matter of, before you cut and when you start with your patterns, just give them a look over and see, as you're marking them, if there's a way to use those scraps. Saves you time in the end, and if there is, then go ahead and do them up as you're doing your project. I think my blades all need changed in all of them. I just have to get Joe to do that for me. They're getting quite dull, but a lot more sewing. So I've got it down for the last block. And how tight it is, I'll show you the little bit of scrap you get. Not very much at all, but I want to double check something right here and right here. Yep. So this time I got 4 extra ones. So each block is definitely yielding me 4 extra blocks. So what I do is, out of all the blocks that we've done so far, I just pin them because they're 3.5 by 3.5. And I just put them in my little stacks so they're ready for me to use. So I've got 8, 16, 24, 30. I will have a significant amount, probably like 40-ish blocks that I can turn into pretty much anything that I want. So out of trimming those down, this is all I had in scraps. So versus throwing the whole shebang away, we were able to upcycle it just a little bit. So for this project, you won't see me do that one final block because I've got 3 done now, and I have 1 more to do. And I'll see you back in the next video on this part. So y'all have a great day. If you're subscribed, great, and thank you. And if you're not and you like my content, please do subscribe. It means everything to me, and it shows me that you do like my content. Hit that thumbs up, and it lets me know that the videos that I am pushing out are to your liking. And if you're not notified, ring that bell, and it's going to let you know each and every time I upload a new video or we go live. So once again, thank you for joining me, and you guys have a great day. Bye.